Hello everyone, I'm Genie and today I'm gonna share with you all my thoughts about the new champion that I released, right? Not released, but they spoiled to us, which is Taric. I kinda let a day pass so I could think more about it and get a better thought on how the champion actually works and in what categories he would fit. And I'm gonna tell you guys exactly that. Now, have in mind that what I'm gonna say here is my opinion. I may be wrong. I don't think I am, but I may be wrong. And it's good to keep that in mind because if you don't agree with me, that's just life. Life moves on. So just real quick before we start, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you want to see more of me, right? More content like this or more content like decks that I'm going to be building a lot when the Targon region comes out. And yeah, leave a comment down below as well with what you think about what I'm going to say here. And we also have a Discord channel if you want to join us. Very friendly people there. You're welcome if you're friendly as well. If you don't want to join, that's on you as well. No problem, no hard feelings. Okay, so first, let's specify some things about Taric's abilities and his level up condition. Taric gives himself and his supported ally tough for the round, meaning that after the attack is done, they'll both remain with a tough keyword until the next round start, meaning that in some situations it's worth going for an open attack to avoid getting removed. Very situational, but it's worth keeping in mind. And the same goes for when he levels up, making himself and his supported ally immortal for the remaining of the round. Now, the thing that really makes him shine is what he provides even without leveling up, which is pretty much double value for your buffs. Because the last spell you cast onto Taric before attacking, right before attacking on the round, will also be cast on his supported ally, meaning that if you cast a buff, for instance, that stays even when the round ends, like Battle Fury, Pocket Aces, and so on, they will also stick on his supported ally. But be aware that it says, when cast on only me, and this is very important, because it means that buffs that like back-to-back, for instance, and other AoE buffs, for instance, won't be duplicated on his supported ability, right? So if you cast like pack mentality, for instance, it's not really going to be translated into one more pack mentality for his supported ally because it's not cast on only him, right? On only Taric. It's cast around the entire board. That's very important to keep in mind. Taric looks like a type of champion that will fit very well in an aggro deck like Noxus, for instance, because once you start buffing your cards with Overwhelm, things can get out of hand pretty quickly. It may also work very well, as shown on the champion trailer, with decks that provides elusives as a buff, because it means that not only one unit will be hard to deal with, but rather two, considering that, you know, Taric mimics the last spell cast on him onto his supported ally. So for instance, he would fit very well as well in a deck like with Zed, for instance, with Ghost. Damn, can you imagine a leveled up Zed, you know, having Ghost, and Taric having Ghost as well? That's actually a lot of elusive action. So around all ideas, from my perspective, Taric gravitates around decks that are either very aggressive or mid-range, relying on units and buffs that provides keywords that are problematic as default. Now we're going to be talking about where, you know, some combinations about Taric and where he would fit, you know, and what type of deck he would fit and what type of deck he would not fit, in my opinion. So let's get to it. You know, let's say Taric plus Medarda. Now, Medarda can be a solid card to provide good cycling draws when combined with several gems, for instance, that were provided as a spoil on this tweet that they made. And that's not all for Taric can do for PNZ, since this concept about cycling gems can also be used with Rummage for card draw. Now, not only that, actually, Taric may be a very good addition for Teemo decks, for instance, because as it has already been shown, Targon will provide defensive mechanics that can be especially good in Mushroom's deck. For instance, Shield Spell can protect Teemo from most spells that would kill him otherwise. This keyword not only protects the unit from target damage, right, like Vile Feast for instance, but it also protects from AoE damage like Withering Wail or Red Card, because as it says on its description, nullifies the next spell or skill that would affect, and this is very important, affect this unit. So it also helps you out to, you know, deal with Ruination. It helps you out to deal with Vengeance and cards that before this were not really counterable. And this is actually very good because it makes it so that squishy units like Teemo becomes even more problematic to deal with, you know, if your opponent doesn't have a challenger on his deck or something. If this were not enough, Taric's leveling condition is very synergistic with Teemo, because having low-cost spells is everything you want to make, you know, your Puffcat Paddler plant mushrooms like on your opponent's deck like there's no tomorrow, so it's actually very good. Now, another combination that I'm definitely gonna be testing out is Taric plus Stormclaw Spirit Walker. Here is, in my opinion, where the gold really is for Taric. There's a huge amount of buffs in Freljord, so making Taric huge shouldn't be a problem, considering that if you have Taric and Stormclaw Spirit Walker on board, and you have Battle Fury in your hand, or even Fury of the North for instance, you may very well OTK your opponent, because you'll be looking at two very big and very mean looking units, both with Overwhelm and a huge amount of stats, making it so that Taric is even more threatening. Now, another similar concept, right? Taric plus Darius. Shiraza plus Kato and plus support, like for instance. This is actually very self-explanatory. Like, the new gem spell gives your allies +1 damage, and it costs 1 mana, synergizing well with Taric himself, obviously, as well as with Overwhelm units. Having Kato means that you can make Kato buff Shiraza, for instance, and give Taric the spell Might while he's supporting Kato. Therefore, having 3 very threatening Overwhelm units. This is obviously the ultimate combo, which is the same thing for Stormclaw that I just mentioned, but it shouldn't be too difficult to make a deck that synergizes well with Taric in Noxus, right? So this is not really too far-fetched. If this is not your main, you know, your main and sole win condition, you can very well make this work. Now, talking about shards of the mountains, you know, gems in general, plus arena bouquet equals card draw engine. Before going to the last topic, I would like to mention that gems may be a good alternative way of, you know, using arena bouquet outside of a Draven deck. This deck obviously would probably, not obviously, but it would probably not have Taric in it, maybe, right? But it's worth mentioning that we may be looking at a new card draw engine that may flourish in the near future if it receives enough support cards for it. Now, the last topic, and people may hate me for it, but I'm gonna talk about it anyway. And we are talking about Taric plus Shen. Does it work? In my opinion, probably not. Depends on how are the other cards that are coming, right, for the collection. But I'm gonna be giving some insights on what I think about it. Both of them needs to be on board to level up, and this is actually a very big deal. Like Taric, obviously, you need to be buffing or supporting cards 7 times, which is not particularly difficult, but you know, he needs to look at this. He needs to see it happening, so it's not that easy to happen. And Shen is pretty much the same thing. He needs to be on board. He needs to see 4 shield, four allies being shielded. So it's actually not that easy. And you may say, oh, but if you get Shen to support Taric, and then he's gonna support another one, and they are all getting barriers. No, not really. That's not how it works, remember? You need to be targeting only Taric with a spell, so a support ability from Shen will not translate into a barrier being, put onto the other ally that Taric is buffing. They have both the same mana cost, making it so that they feel clunky if you have both of them in your starting hand, right? They try to do pretty much the same thing, but a tiny bit differently. One benefits from from low-cost spells being played, like Taric, right? While the other benefits from shields, like barriers, right, being played, which as it stands are quite costly spells. Considering that Taric gives stuff to his ability, having many barriers in a buff deck may not be the best thing in my opinion. Now, will they work together? Probably not, but there is still a possibility considering that we don't have all the cards shown yet, so maybe there is a hidden synergy among them. But odds are that if they are played in the same deck, they will feel like a deck, like current Yasuo plus Lee Sin, for instance. You'll try to do a lot of things at once, right? Many things at once, and in the end, you will succeed at none. Now, this is it for this video, fellas. Don't forget to leave a comment with your thoughts on what you think about the Taric, how he's gonna work, if he is gonna be very powerful or not. Leave a like if you did like the video. Subscribe for more content if you liked it as well. That's a very good way to do it. And yeah, we'll see each other on the next one, fellas. See ya!